Hey people, I was going to make a short video of Adam naming the woman in the garden, but if this is a short video, I've cut you short. There's just way more to it than the story they feed us. And there was no Eve until the King James Bible arrived. You know, in the Greek Bible, he named her Zoe, for she was the mother fontaine tones haunting. The mother fontaine tones haunting. And nobody calls her Eve until Genesis 4 when she became the event on, the time, the event on. What day we're going to do this. And in the Hebrew Bible, you know, they say that's pronounced a Shavah. I don't know how they got an Eve out of that. But that's because, you know, she was the mother of all chi. That's a better answer there. The mother of all chi. You know, chi, which is a vital energy. And you see it better in the Latin, you know, called her Eva. For Eva is where that comes from. Because she was the matter acid constorium of viventium, of liveliness. Viventium. So while reading on this Zoe, this life, you know, this is just finishing up. The life is created in the first and the second chapters. And this is finishing it up, and it finishes with the life and explains all about this. So this Adam named his wife Zoe comes in Genesis 3:20, and it's right after that God finishes scolding them for what they have done. And so this reads, and the call is in Adam. And so, you know, before, you know, God was naming everything, and then he gave charge to Adam to name everything on earth. And this is the last thing Adam names is Zoe. And so when God names, you know, in Genesis 1, it's the call is in has to. The one that has the right to name things. The call is in it has to. And you see this show up in Genesis 1 right before it says, and it was good. And it wasn't until he decided the man shouldn't be alone that he had shaped from out of the earth all the wild beasts and led them to him, to Adam, to behold what he would call them. You know, of to forced on Adam the identity. The identity. To call is they. Of two, and what call that they would come to, and upon of on the call is in of to Adam, and Adam had the call, and so it doesn't say anything about Adam naming anything until it gets to Eve. It's really the only thing that he named, and he didn't name her Eve. He named her Zoe, which is actually a number, because the name is on a math. M-A-T-H, on a math to count it up. And so there's several forms of this Greek Bible, and so this one reads two ways too. You see all the marks up top, and it actually means when you see this to read that the other way, and it's a month of a month, M-O-N-T-H-S. The months is what's the name, and you know, you see it in this word identity here. You know, you're reading I-D-E, and then the mark tells you to read it the other way, N-I-T-Y, I-D-E-N-I-T-Y, the identity. You know, and it's because two nada, N-A-D-A, nada, none of them had an identity. And so what it was really called, you know, and the call is in Hadam to Anima this. Go Nakos, you know, she was always running around naked. And Go Nakos saw to was a hottie. Was a hottie of teen, T-H-H-N, teen, T-E-N. Was a hottie of teen mother. And the font on tones, and haunting. That's where your word haunting comes from. Want. And so a tone's haunting is the song that's in your head all day. And the font, the symbol for on tones haunting. And so this mother symbol, this comes from time, the meter. It's actually not mother. The mother was a M-U-T. This is the meter. And it comes from this symbol for the mother god, and it's Mut, the goddess Mut. And you see it in the Hebrew Bible in Genesis 4 when she goes to talk with the serpent, and the surely you will die is the moody tune. The tune is haunting in your head. But this is coming from the meter, and to meet, to come together, or with, and HR, to hear. And so that's the mother that hears everything. The men, we go by visual. What we see is what turns us on. And women, you got to say the right thing. It depends on what they hear. And so the call is in Hadam to honor this. The go Nako saw to was a haughty of teen met her. She was a teen when he met her. When he met her, a font, her name, the font on tones and haunting is on. And so you see the rhyme here, knitting and knitting. And so that was the god that sit just below the horizon and created this heavens every night. She's the one that knitted all the stars in place and created time. And that's what this living means. This is the god of time, the meter. And so this god of time is of two, Z, the 7, and Omega, the great circle, and then divide. And so the 7 of great circle is every 19 years we run a great circle, and the moon and the sun and the stars are almost back in exactly the same place. And so the 7 great cycles is 7 times 19 is 133, and then divided. And so this number doesn't mean 133. It means 133 divided by, and divided at aughteen. An aught is a decimal point, an aught, and a teen. So you divide it by 10. Teen is 10, and so it was 13 is what that means. And 13 is the number of M. And so that's the number of the moon. You have 13 moons a year, the waters, and that's where that's all coming from. And mit is with, and met is with at the same time, And met, if you missed the timing, you weren't there, and met her. And if you're a sailor, that's the mother of all. You got to know what time it is or you're lost. And her is the feminine part, and it's the ear, what you hear. And met here, in rhythm, and time, meter. And so Adam and Eve, Adam means times past, and he's not really calling anything. He's telling you that the name was Adam from times past. Adam is the ex-wife of a many. In times past, has been had from, and Eve is time. And Adam and Eve is the story of times past. Mother had them, the meter had them. The time of the event on, because they've been studying time and keeping logs, and they seen that things were happening in cycles. And so the woman is the one that learned most about the moon. She was the first one to notice the moon cycle, because the moon seemed to always know when she was going to have her period. And so this is why all your celebrations, they're set for the moon, for the eve, the event. They figured out that the moon has the greatest effect on people's thinking. And they would throw their events during the moon, and people were more likely to get drunk and see God and go to jail and have to pay the fine. And that's how these big cities made their money. They sold you to the captain, put you on a boat, you didn't know where you ended up. But that's where this word, a damned, comes from. A damned, is that period of time, a damned. igno, and did not know the event on. And so this reads just like a bunch of Southern boys hanging out, and we calls and had 'em to honor this go Nako saw to was a hottie of teen metrofontin tones haunting, and her mother name, the sound, the tones a haunting, and haunting is what's in you. She was the singer she brought life to. And, had 'em, that was a group of guys wanting to lay claim, wanting to had 'em, make 'em a past. And the calls and had 'em to honor this, go Nakos. And so this base word, Gina, comes up different ways. It changes up at the end, but this is the Giny in Co's. The Co saw too. A Co saw too. A pimped whore. She done been pimped. She was all dressed up with lipstick on and all, And the call is in Haddam to honor this of the Giny co-saw to. The Gina co-saw to with a partnership. Was a hottie of teen metrofontin tons and tone. And effigies curious at has to. Effigies curious at has to is the cat, the symbol of curious, at has to, and the cat had 'em with, and a Gina sea of two. What's it on as? A dermatinus, a young virgin. Weave a deuce in of to us, and that just means what you figured out from what you saw, that it was a young virgin. And so this next word here, this line 322, this is the Philosopher's Stone, and it's going to take way too much. I'm going to have to make another movie, so I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.